Sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in. Can't afford to pass it by. Guaranteed to make you cry. Let the sideshow begin. Hurry, hurry, step right on in. Okay, I was attempting to go live with an additional reading of Skiphounds, but I'm trying new technology. I'm trying to merge Periscope and Instagram and Facebook. So I experienced some technical difficulties. But as I said, I'm falling behind on my reading of Skiphounds because there's so much going on in the city and in the world. And I don't want to disappoint those persons who've been asking me, when am I going to read more Skiphounds? So here we go. Quickly, Frankie Myers had gone over to the Jackson Park Lagoon during the biggest snowstorm in Chicago history, despite the fact that his mother told him to stay away from there because during that winter, 23 children had already drowned over at Jackson Park Lagoon. But Frankie had to go over there and investigate because he wanted to see what all the lagoon monster fuss was all about. So, here we go. Skiphounds. Ultimately, the fugitive thing became troublesome. To combat this growing trend, the society recruited 6,000 faithful devil worshippers. They certified them and gave them the title Skiphounds. Like the Navy conditions its SEALs to achieve extraordinary feats under extreme circumstances, the society trains and conditions its Skiphounds. The society even teaches Skiphounds to master the principles of forensics and behavioral sciences. Once fully trained and developed into world-class trackers, Skiphounds are equipped with all of the earthly skills and instincts of Navajo scouts. Skiphounds are able to understand how modest events, past and present, might significantly affect the future. The average skiphound can walk into a cathedral full of people and within minutes determine who came in first, who came in last, and who was most likely to be found dead with a toaster in their bathwater. Society-trained skiphounds are nicknamed satanic bounty hunters by some and called the devil's bill collectors by others. The society commissions them to track down ungrateful fugitives. In the early days, skiphounds would weasel their way into the lives of fugitives and pal around with them. Skiphounds would wait patiently until a fugitive they befriended died. They would then commandeer their soul and pilot them to hell. Over a period of time, skiphounds evolved. They became so proficient, they didn't have to wait until a fugitive died to claim their soul. Skiphounds perfected the art of sucking the soul from fugitives they managed to trap. They then sequestered those souls in vaults. To motivate their troops, the society guaranteed immortality to each and every skiphound who sequestered 10,000 fugitive souls. On this cold, blizzardly Chicago Eve, skiphound Jonathan Bailey was only 2,357 souls short of that magic number. During hard time, Frankie's mom had sold her soul to the devil. Later, in a fit of desperation, she pledged Frankie's soul. Thus, Jonathan Bailey, arguably the best, finest skiphound the society had ever trained, trudged like a fool possessed toward the tragic spot where Frankie had fallen into the icy lagoon. Just as skiphound Jonathan Bailey reached the bank of the lagoon, he slipped and fell hard into the soft snow. He hastily picked himself up and quickly shed his overcoat. He secured one end of the long rope around his waist and hurriedly tied the other end to a sturdy tree. Fearlessly and without pause, Jonathan crashed through the ice and dove deep into the Arctic lagoon. After a couple of minutes, the legendary skiphound emerged and heaved Frankie's lifeless carcass onto the pillory shore. He climbed out, immediately dropped his knees, and began to press his palms into the boy's back. The water, which filled Frankie's lungs, spouted out from between his clenched, gapped teeth. In one fluid motion, Jonathan rolled Frankie over, pinched his nostrils shut, and hovered over him as though ready to perform CPR. All at once, skiphound Bailey hoarsely strained to blow out every scintilla of his own air. He quickly placed his mouth securely over Frankie's and inhaled deeply. Like a high-powered vacuum cleaner, Jonathan Bailey swiftly sucked the God-given spirit from Frankie's immature body. As he had done 7,643 times before, skiphound Jonathan Bailey strained to force his victim's soul deep into the bowels of his system. Frankie's innocent soul fought to be released. The boy had made no deal with the devil. He hadn't sold his soul to Satan. Why should he suffer from Mama's slithering indiscretion? Skiphound Jonathan Bailey's body quivered as the conflict raged inside. His watery, bloodshot eyes bulged. All at once, it appeared as though he were about to vomit. His jaws puffed as he struggled to control the violent convulsions. He placed one hand securely over his crystallized mustache and firmly held his mouth shut. In spite of the freezing temperature, he had begun to perspire profusely. Soon the grim Skiphound's contorted face relaxed. He trembled noticeably as he warily removed his hand from his mouth. Jonathan's leathery eyelids slid down as he threw his head back and breathed a sigh of relief. The snowflakes hissed and sizzled as they melted on his face. While Frankie's empty, soulless shell incubated in the snow, Skiphound Jonathan Bailey collected his overcoat and rope. Exhausted, he stumbled back to the rusty old truck and drove away. At the first opportunity, Jonathan placed an anonymous call to a telephone company operator and provided her with information that led paramedics to the enigmatic scene. During the ambulance ride to the hospital, Frankie suddenly coughed. His forsaken eyes popped wide open. Just like the other victims of the Jackson Park Lagoon, Frankie survived. By 7 o'clock that evening, the anonymous caller was proclaimed to be a hero. Okay, let the sideshow begin. It's more from Skiphounds.